And welcome back to a new video on the Essex Boys case. As always, if you are enjoying the content, please do give the video a thumbs up. And if you're interested in the Essex Boys case, or simply true crime in general, don't forget to hit the subscribe button below. A Canvey schoolteacher has told how she spotted the victims of a triple gangland slaying tailing a mystery car on the night they died. Rebecca Carr, who was a surprise witness in a defence case of Michael Steele and Jack Womes, said she noticed the trio at the Rettendon Turnpike roundabout less than a mile from where their blood-splattered bodies were found inside a Range Rover. The hushed Old Bailey courtroom heard the geography department head was driving to her Malden home on the day of their deaths, December the 6th, 1995, when she was forced to stop at traffic lights. She told the court, quote, "A Range Rover was in the next lane, and I could see 3 men inside it. I couldn't see the driver perfectly clearly, but there was someone in the front passenger seat." Graham Parkins, QC, defending Steele, asked her, quote, "What did you notice about the build of these 2 men?" She replied, "They were very large, very muscular, big men." Mrs. Carr also revealed there was a passenger in the back, leaning forward between the 2 front seats. She said, quote, "He struck me as massive, basically." The dead men were drug dealers Tate, Tony Tucker and Craig Rolfe. All 3 were bodybuilders, and Tate, who was found in the back seat, regularly used steroids. Steele, 54 of St Mary's Road, and Womes, 36 of Main Road, Brockford, Suffolk, have denied gunning them down following a disagreement over a cannabis deal. Supergrass, Darren Nichols, a prosecution witness, has claimed that he picked Steele and Womes up from Workhouse Lane near White House Farm at 7 p.m. on the night of the killings in a beige Volkswagen Passat. But Mrs. Carr, who now lives in Benfleet, told the Old Bailey jury that she spotted the Range Rover at 5:45 p.m. She was interviewed by police days later and was able to identify photos of Tate and Tucker. She added, quote, "There was a white Ford Sierra, I believe it was a C-Reg, which the Range Rover was trying to keep up with. I got the impression they were together." Although she could not see the Sierra's driver, she described the front seat passenger as a big man who filled the seat. As they reached White House Farm, Mrs. Carr said the Sierra braked suddenly and indicated it was turning right. The Range Rover then did the same. During cross-examination, Mrs. Carr was asked how sure she was of the identity of the men in the Range Rover. She responded, quote, "The man in the back I'm definitely sure of." The following newspaper article is from the 14th of the 11th, 1997, with the headline, "Champagne Alibi in Rettendon Murder Trial." The sister-in-law of a triple murder defendant told how they sipped champagne together less than 2 hours after the brutal killings. Postwoman Phyllis Stanbrook of Point Clear near Clacton was giving evidence in the defence of Michael Steele, 54, who is accused of murdering drug dealers Pat Tate, Tony Tucker and Craig Rolfe on December the 6th, 1995. His co-defendant is 36-year-old Jack Womes. The Old Bailey jury has heard claims that Steele fell out with Tate after a cannabis deal went wrong. The bodies of Tate, 37 of Gordon Road, Basildon, Tucker, 38 of High Road, Fobbing, and 26-year-old Craig Rolfe of Calshot Avenue, Chafford 100 were found in Rettendon. Both Steele and Womes of Main Road, Brockford, Suffolk deny the killings. The prosecution alleges the killings took place between 6:45 p.m. and 7 p.m. on December the 6th. However, Mrs. Stanbrook testified that Steele was at his home in St Mary's Road, Great Bentley, Essex at 7:30 p.m. that night. She told the court she was considering buying his bungalow. Steele had invited them to look around it. She said, quote, "When we arrived, they were having a celebration. They had signed a contract that day for a new property, and we had champagne." But Andrew Munday QC prosecuting revealed Steele's defence team did not ask Mrs. Stanbrook to give evidence until March this year. And in a police statement she made this month, Mrs. Stanbrook stated it was Steele's solicitor who told her the night of her visit was December the 6th. He continued, quote, "Let's say he spoke to you on March the 1st. If I had asked you on February the 28th on what date you went round to see Mr. Steele, what would you have said?" Mrs. Stanbrook replied, "I would have said, I can't recall." The trial continues. The following newspaper articles from the 21st of the 11th, 1997, with the headline, 4 people quizzed in jury investigation. 4 people, including Evening Echo journalist Linda Christie, have been questioned over allegations concerning jurors in the Rettendon murder trial. Basildon chief reporter Miss Christie, 26, and freelance reporter Steve Klein, 30, were arrested with 2 others after Old Bailey judge Mr Justice Hidden asked police to investigate allegations of intimidating jurors and attempting to pervert the course of justice. Miss Christie was held at Snow Hill Police Station, London, for 21 hours. All 4 were released on bail while inquiries continue and no charges have been made. The investigation concerns an alleged incident at St Paul's Underground Station. The reporters had been covering the trial of Michael Steele and Jack Womes, who deny killing 3 men at Rettendon in December 1995. The following newspaper article is from the 23rd of the 10th, 1997, with the headline, Solicitor Faces Trial Quiz. The solicitor for a supergrass at the centre of a triple gangland killing denied police had prompted or led his client into making a confession. But Lee Craddock of Maudsley, Wright and Pearson in Basildon admitted he was surprised at the numerous hours police had spent in private conversation with Darren Nichols. Mr Craddock was brought in as Nichols' legal representative in May 1995, after the police informer had been arrested for the murder of drug dealers Pat Tate, Tony Tucker and Craig Rolfe. By the time Mr Craddock came on board, Nichols had already started telling police it was Michael Steele and Jack Womes who had pulled the trigger. Nichols claimed he was the unwitting getaway driver for the murders of Tate, Tucker and Rolfe, whose bodies were found in a Range Rover down remote Workhouse Lane in Rettendon on December 7th, 1995. Both Womes and Steele deny the charges, but Nichols has become the major prosecution witness in the trial. Mr Craddock told the Old Bailey jury that at no time when he was present did police try to influence Nichols to answer questions in a certain way, and denied his client had been given a prepared script to read on tape. But Graham Parkins QC, appearing on behalf of Steele, expressed surprise when Mr Craddock admitted he had not known the same police officers who carried out the interviews with Nichols had also had private meetings with him in his cell before Mr Craddock had represented him. Mr Parkins then revealed that during the weeks Mr Craddock represented Nichols, the same officers who interviewed the supergrass spent more than 30 hours talking to him off tape in his cell, one interview lasting 7 hours and 43 minutes. Mr Parkins said, quote, "It is an undesirable procedure for officers to see him in private when they were interviewing him over a length of time." Mr Craddock answered, "I wouldn't disagree." The case continues. The following newspaper article was from the 7th of the 11th, 1997, with the headline, Man accused of murdering drug barons gives his side. A man accused of executing 3 drug barons told yesterday how he acted as a go-between for a gangland supergrass and one of the murder victims. An Old Bailey jury heard engineer Michael Steele would pass on messages between police informer Darren Nichols and drugs baron Pat Tate. Bodybuilder Tate, 37, and pals Tony Tucker, 38, and 26-year-old Craig Rolfe were gunned down as they sat in their Range Rover in a deserted country lane in Rettendon, Essex on December 6, 1995. The villains had been duped into attending a false drugs meet, unaware that an ambush had been laid for them. They had earlier been angered by poor quality cannabis allegedly supplied by 54-year-old Michael Steele. Supergrass Nichols, who is the main prosecution witness, claims he unwittingly drove Steele and 36-year-old Jack Womes away from the murder scene at Workhouse Lane. Both Steele of Ainger's Green Great Bentley, Essex, and Womes of Main Road, Brockford, Suffolk, deny murdering the men. Defendant Steele, spending his second day on the witness stand, told the jury he played no part in importing drugs into the UK. He said, quote, "I was the go-between. Pat Tate would be in contact with me all the time, as was Darren Nichols. I would pass on messages between the 2 men." The defendant later told the court, in referring to Workhouse Lane, where the murders were carried out, that he had no knowledge of the location. He also denied claims made by Nichols that he had used the land as a spot to take his girlfriend in his courting days. Steele and Womes deny conspiracy to import cannabis. Steele denies possessing a pump-action shotgun. Co-defendant Peter Corey of London Road, Clacton, Essex, denies the charge of conspiracy to import cannabis. The trial continues. If you would like to learn more about the Range Rover murders, then click on the video in front of you now. You will also see the Essex Boys playlist, which has all of the videos concerning this case in one convenient folder. Many thanks for joining me for this video. I look forward to seeing you all again for the next one. Take care. Cheers.